Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor with Linda. And I just wanted to, I'm going to do another video this week. I just put one out about making a landscape, a beautiful winter landscape Christmas scene. So if you haven't seen that, please give that a watch. And then we're going to go on. I know some people, let's just say, who don't put enough paint on their palette. And so they have this little palette about this big, or a little plate or something, and maybe it's you. Used to be me. But I want to talk about this palette again. I have in the past, but I'm going to show you what I do with this palette, and we're going to load one of our pans. Now when I'm painting a lot of videos, I am going through a lot of paint. And we've talked in the past about how to organize the paints, so go back to those videos. But this one's just going to be about when they get like this, you know, there's just not enough paint. You want to get glorious paint so that you can draw tons out. This stuff is, people don't realize, they try to save it too much, okay? And I want to talk about, get a lot of paint on your palette, okay? I'm going to just go and load these all up as far up as I can. I want to say at least 3/4 of the way, these pans, okay? I used all this green the other day, my greens for my winter scene painting card. And so we're going to reload this, and then we'll wipe that, mop that up a little bit, clean that off. And we also have, did I say this is the John Pike palette? This is my go-to, and I have 2 of them too, because sometimes I want to try a new color, and I tend to, like many of us, have a favorite palette that you end up always needing those colors. You always want those colors. But I also use the back or the top, I guess it is, of the palette. And I put a lot on here too, and then we can spread that paint and let it flow. So that's really important. So I want you to just, this video is probably going to be 5 or 10 minutes long, and we're gonna do this together. If you haven't gotten a palette like this, I highly recommend. I don't think they couldn't be more than 25 bucks. 20, 25, they're not bad, and they last forever, and they get better with age, right? Because my newer one, it's like you see the bubbling of the paint on the top of the plastic. That just doesn't happen anymore. It just sits so nice and smooth. I don't know what happens, but it gets better. It gets better like a guitar when you play it. The longer you play an acoustic, the more mellow and deep and rich the sound can get if it's a good guitar. Anyway, so let's do that. Let's go to the table. Let's do some loading together. You watch this, get excited. Pick some favorite colors. Okay, so I've got my art bin with my paints here. They're my main paints. Actually, I've got so many paints. There's some organized in bins like this as well, because I just have more paints than I need, but I love color. I've got all my earth tones are all over in a pile over here that we're going to use for the next video. But right now we're just going to look at our palette, our John Pike palette again. This gets kind of muddy after a while, so I always, before I start a new video, I don't take all of the paint off, but I kind of clear it up a little bit. This is my way, and see if you can think about these things and how they keep you from getting where you can't figure out what paints are what after you've done a few paintings, or but get it down to the basic colors here. I'm going to keep my brown. I'm going to keep where I have a concentration of a color like that, and I might just wet my paper towel and just bring it around where it's just, there's not much paint left there, and maybe I've got things mixed that I don't want mixed on the next painting, okay? But I do not just waste everything and rinse everything off either. I mean, that's not good either. These paints are, like, we've talked about, a little expensive, so we don't want to do that. But we do want to make the most of our palette here. If I want to, I can take a dry one. This is wet now, and do, I don't know what this is. Let's just get it off. And sometimes it runs down in here, and I just like to clean that up, because I sometimes have my palette slanted because my board's slanted and everything's slanted. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, so now that's looking a little better. Yeah, I don't know what color that is either. I know my greens are going to be over here, but yeah. I might add some granulated greens over here too. So now my colors, like I've mentioned before, are nickel azo yellow. I think it's yellow ochre, gold. What is it? Gold. Quinacridone gold. I go into pyrrole orange usually, paraline orange, and then I have my reds like alizarin crimson and scarlet. I think crimson's some kind of scarlet and different reds. I forget what they are. I'll have to look it up. And then I have my blues, and I mostly use cobalt blue. I mostly use indanthrone blue there. Oh, I'm sorry. This is green, blue hue, something blue hue. It's an aqua blue, but it has no granulation. Then the cobalt blue is next, which is just a true blue, gorgeous and translucent. And then the ultramarine blue has the granules. Carbazole violet is a wonderful, neutral, strong violet purple. And then I'm starting over here. I might have more. Oh, I put in there, I think it was a cerulean blue or a Prussian blue if I choose. That was an afterthought. It was a palette I didn't use for a while. Then green gold. Can you see all this? Yeah. And then sap green, deep sap green. And here's pretty empty. That was probably where I had undersea green, which is actually more yellow green, so it should really be up here. If I were to go from, I usually go warm to cool, just the way I like to stay organized, like I've mentioned before. And then I go into my browns, and I sometimes put some of them on the palette because I have more browns than I tend to put here. I might put a quinacridone burnt orange, which is a gorgeous granulating kind of brownie orange. And a let's see, burnt sienna kind of color. Over here I had sepia, and I have my Payne's gray and or neutral tint, which to me are the same, although I know one's more purple and one's more blue. Payne's gray is more blue, but that kind of is my black, or I can bring things together with those colors to create a dark or a black. So that's really what I do. And then the main thing I want to just tell you, and I didn't know I was going to get into all that, but it's important to have a palette we love, and then we can't wait to do more paints on it. So I'm going to look for my nickel azo yellow, and I'm going to just kind of in a nutshell show you how, I got it first try here. I have some visuals reading impairment. So I just want to super load these. I'm going to have to hopefully not drop everything on the floor here, but I'm going to super load that. We're almost gone. Now, if you want to, you can take your brush, whatever brush you choose. I will choose, that's too big. I'd like just a nice medium. I do have a brush I mix things with. It's just a standard, I don't know where it is right now. Oh, I got it. Nope. Here it is. I'm sorry. Cheap Joe's, it's golden fleece brushes. They're very stiff and sometimes too controlled for me because they're so tight and so they don't bend. But some people really like that. You have more control for sure. Okay, so whoop, I'm sorry. Take the brush into, that's lemon yellow. I'm sorry. This is nickel azo. I did put lemon at the bottom. I made some changes. Okay. And then Quin Gold. No, then it should be yellow ochre and Quin Gold still. Okay. So you can wet that a little so that you can see how much you have in there. Okay. Because that's pretty dried out. I haven't used it lately. I always use it a little, I guess. Well, seems like I do. And it's a beautiful, rich, golden yellow. Kind of has a green, rusty, coppery thing going in there or something. Now, that, some people would say is full enough. I don't think so. Let's load that thing, okay? Let's load it. It's gotta be. The more paint you have here, the more you're just gonna be able to pull it on the palette. Wow, okay. If you can do it, I know it's going to be like, oh my god, that's a lot of paint, Linda. But that's what it's for. It's to use, right? I'll do one more and then we'll talk a little bit and we'll... I think I'm going to try to find my Pyro Orange. Let's see, I think it might be right here. I try to keep things in order. It's very important to stay organized if you can. Oh, that's uSE yellow. That's a pretty color too. It's not what I have in mine though. But this is Pearline Orange or... No, this is my Pyro Orange. It's right where it should be. Yay! Okay, so let's just do one more and then I'll do the rest myself. But take that and again, you know, clean off our palette as much, or our brush, I'm sorry. Make sure I don't have the yellow on there. And then go into my orange right here. Okay. And really, you know, see what I've got here. And get it wet because, you know, it's just going to be dried underneath the other paint, which we kind of want to wet that. If you would prefer and you feel like you've got a lot on there and you want to use it up, I just don't really, I don't do that because if you you let it empty out, you're drawing and you're not getting paint, and then when you try to load your brush, I just put that, it blurted out of the tube onto my brand new gator board. Oh well, it's gonna happen. I'm like everyone, it's like, it's brand new, there's not a spot on it. It's okay, it's gonna happen. Oh, look at that. Isn't that a wonderful, look at our, how full, and doesn't that make you want to paint more than some of these over here? Right? Look at that, it's gorgeous. So there you go. So we're gonna get going on that. I'm gonna see if I can get the orange off of my gator board. Because like I said, it is valuable to me too. This is like, to me, is a luxury. It's a it's a gift. It's something that I allow myself in life, and you want to do that. You know, I'm gonna pull this off of the gator board and try to get it back. Oh, I just put it on the palette. Ooh, look at that! Don't you want to paint with that? So here's my palette. And I've filled everything up as much as I think I will use. I loaded some a lot because I use them so much. Some maybe a little less because I don't use those colors as much. Although putting them out makes me think, what can I do with those other colors? And then also I wanted to say, so I've kind of reorganized my art bin again and put paints back in here and get that all organized, you know, yellows, oranges, blues, I like that, greens, and then, and of course purples. Oops, I didn't load my purple. And then my earth tones to my Payne's grays and blacks down there. So that art bin is getting ready for the next time I have to load. Then I'm just looking at something I found and I thought, ooh, let's take this to our next winter scene. I just did some, I'll show you how. I'll add a little more blue over here and let those kind of flow together. Just a beautiful sky, and I've got a horizon line. We're going to do some backwash trees and some mountains, maybe a little rocks in here. And so we're going to do a nice painting for our next video. So I hope you will join me as we continue now that we have a loaded palette. All right, thanks for watching. Here's the thing, okay? When you go through your paints, you can, you know, if you don't, they're expensive, but they're not. If you get good quality paints, they're more concentrated, like Winsor Newton, Daniel Smith, Sennelier, but get the artist brands. Don't get the student grade. It's more concentrated, more rich in color. And then use it. Pour it out, let it go, let it flow, and you'll love painting so much more. You'll be more excited and more motivated to paint. Look forward to it. Can't wait to get there to the table, right? And the other thing is, I've been asking, when people say to me, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? Or even Mother's Day, you know, which people don't ask, but you get flowers. But I always tell my family, I could use some more paints, and I will send them a little picture. I'll text them a photo of I've been dying to get this Sennelier cerulean blue paint that's like this gorgeous color, but I haven't bought it because, you know, it is about 15, 18 bucks. That's a pricey one. It depends on the series, right? If it's a series 1, it's less expensive. Series 4 is much more expensive, so you wanna, you know, you wanna maybe ask for some of these for gifts. And they also carry, like in that brand, Sennelier, it's a French impressionists use that brand. They have 21 milliliter. Normally the big tubes are 15 milliliter. Senneliers are 10. They're bigger ones. The small ones, you see the little Winsor Newton ones are like 5 milliliter. You get more for your money when you buy the large tubes. That's the other tip. And then you can get 21 in Sennelier paints, 21 milliliter. And it's, again, it's like other things that you buy. The larger size you get, the less expensive it is. So here's some real good tips for us to really be able to feel like we're not, you know, trying to hoard or save our paint to save money, because the thing is you can save it in these ways I'm talking about. So I hope you will try some of these things and get inspired when I go to the table. Speaking up here, sorry. Go to the table and we're gonna load our palette up really good. So you can watch me do a few of these and then maybe order one of these palettes, right? Okay, see you there.